Hi, this is Captain Nolte, and welcome to this edition of Behind the Badge, your behind-the-scene look at what's going on with the Wichita Police Department. Well, today we're talking about false alarms, and with me is Deanna Perkins. She's with the Alarm Administration for the City of Wichita and the Police Department. Thanks for being here, Deanna.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I know that you guys in the Alarm Administration are doing a lot of work to maybe change the ordinance as it is and make it a little bit more user-friendly. Tell us just a little bit about the Wichita's alarm ordinance and what you guys are wanting to do with making some changes to it.
Okay. Well, we have an alarm ordinance in the city of Wichita because each year there are almost 19,000 false alarms each year in the city of Wichita. That occupies a lot of our officers' time. It occupies a lot of our resources and our funds to do that. So we have an alarm ordinance to encourage people to reduce their false alarms, be more responsible with their alarm systems, and there are high fees in place to encourage people to not have so many false alarms.
Well, have any of the changes been put into effect yet?
Not yet. Right now what we're doing is we're reviewing the alarm ordinance for some changes. Hopefully they will take place in the next 3 to 6 months, but nothing has gone into effect yet. We're still researching, we're still looking at everything. Some of those changes are, we'll present a challenge to the alarm users. We're looking at possibly having them register their own alarm systems with the city instead of the previous process that was having the alarm companies do it for them. We're also looking at possibly not responding to those alarm abusers that are having excessive false alarms or that don't pay their false alarm fees as required.
Now, those are some pretty sweeping changes that could occur, and again, we want to mention that they haven't taken place yet.
Correct.
Have you tried to get public input on this, or how can the public comment on this so that we can get some input from them?
Okay. Well, we've done our research in figuring out what other jurisdictions are doing and how we compare and what can we do to make the ordinance better? What can we do to make it more efficient? How can we make it easier for people to follow? We are asking for the public's input. Right now we have a survey on SurveyMonkey. The link is posted on the Wichita Police Department's Facebook and Twitter accounts. The link is also posted on the Wichita Fire Department's Facebook account. As of today, we do have a survey on Activate Wichita. The link is www.activate-wichita.com. People can create an account, see all kinds of city projects that we're looking at. Also, there is a specific topic on false alarms and the false alarm ordinance. They can answer our questions there.
Great. Well, what are the challenges to responding to false alarms? And could responses to alarms be suspended under the changes that are being proposed?
Under the proposed changes, yes. We could potentially stop responding to alarm abusers. People who use their system responsibly and have very few, if any, false alarms each year would not be affected by the changes. People who pay their false alarm fees as required would not be affected by the changes. Only those who have a lot of false alarms each year or who fail to pay. And the reason for that is because there are so many false alarms that it's just draining our resources. It's pulling our officers and our firefighters away from potential real emergency situations. And there's just too many in the city. We really need to get that number reduced. And this is a way to potentially do that.
What are some things that a homeowner or a business owner that has an alarm system can do to help reduce their potential for false alarm? We recognize it could happen, but what can they do to make sure that it's something that doesn't happen?
Two of the main leading causes for false alarms in the city of Wichita are user error and faulty equipment. To prevent that, we recommend everyone train anyone who comes into their house or business how to use the alarm system. If you give them the key, give them the code to the alarm system. Employees, caretakers, people who are going to be watching your house while you're out of town, those kinds of things, especially cleaning crews for businesses. That's a problem for us.
Okay. Well, and typically we've got a response that goes into play. how much time does it take for officers to, typically respond to alarm and move on to a different call? I mean, it's somewhat time consuming. Do you know?
It is somewhat time consuming. Some alarms are canceled before an officer gets there. However, once that call has been received by 911, it's almost immediately dispatched every time. So from the time the officer receives that information until the time is canceled, we are still using our resources. We're still using our fuel in our vehicles. We're still putting wear and tear on our tires. And also, if it's not canceled, typically it will take about 20 to 30 minutes from the time the officer receives the call, gets to the location and finds out what's going on, and closes the call and moves on to something else. So with 17,000 of these, 17 to 19,000 of these calls each year, if we're sending 2 police officers on each call, we're using almost 16,000 man hours. If we're sending 5 firefighters on a call, we're using about 5,000 man hours.
And so it really can be an easy fix for everyone by just paying attention to the small things, making sure your alarm is maintained right, and
Correct.
the people that are on scene do have the proper passcodes. It seems so simple, but yet people just maybe don't pay attention as much as they should. And so again, they can get on several different channels. The social media channels have this link to the survey, as well as they can get on Activate Wichita and do that. So what kind of time frame are we looking at before we might actually see some changes put in place?
We're hoping to have them finalized and up for approval within the next 3 to 6 months. Once they're approved, hopefully maybe a month or 2 after they're approved, they will go into effect. When they are put into effect, we will send out an email blast to all of the neighborhood associations. We will most likely do an announcement on our Facebook, our Twitter, the police Facebook account, the fire department Facebook account. We'll probably make a notice to them at our police media briefing. So we will try and get it out to the public that these changes are coming and what day they'll go into effect.
Great. Deanna, let me ask you, we're talking about false alarms, but there might be some confusion for people that are watching about what happens if it's a good alarm. Are we changing anything that we're doing on a valid alarm?
No, we're not. If you get a valid alarm, if you have an actual break-in and a case number, there's a code in our database that's supposed to tell us don't charge that. If we make a mistake, we do ask people to follow our appeals process so that we can start an investigation and figure out why they were charged in error. If they have any questions about that, they can contact our office and we'll be willing to talk to them about that.
What's that number that they can call for questions?
The phone number is 877-888-1355. That's to our billing vendor, and they handle all questions and things like that for us.
Well, and that's an important thing for us to remember to get out there, is that there is an appeal process that's out there so that citizens that feel like they might have gotten something wrong on their end or on our end, we can work that out, because we are trying to be as user-friendly as possible. Isn't that true?
We are, and we do give everyone one free false alarm each year that's not charged, as long as their permit is current. As long as they've paid their $25 permit fee that we send out 30 days before the expiration date, then they get a free one. And we have the appeals process. We also have an online alarm school that allows customers to waive one false alarm fee each year. So we do try several things to make this user-friendly.
Great. Now, just out of curiosity, why the move in the ordinance to have individuals register their alarms rather than the alarm company?
We're finding out that some of the information the alarm companies are providing us is not always the most accurate information. They're giving us misspelled street names, they're giving us incorrect house numbers, incorrect spelling of the customer's name, incorrect phone numbers. We've had incorrect mailing addresses. And so those are some of the things we're trying to correct, is get accurate information from the customer. Also, excuse me, each permit is $25. The alarm companies, we're finding out, they're passing that $25 on to the customer so the customer is paying it anyways. We've also had instances where the alarm companies have charged the customer a $25 permit fee every year when the city is actually billing the customer the $25 permit fee after the first year. So we've had some customers double paying for permit fees. So it's things like that that we're trying to stop. We're trying to save the customer money, make sure they're paying only the fees that they need to pay, and getting their information correct.
Well, Deanna, I want to thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule. I know you work hard to make sure that everything is billed correctly and is running smoothly, and you've put a lot of work into the ordinance, and we look forward to seeing what changes will come. So thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Behind the Badge, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.